Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Millennium TV News. This is Zaryan Rahman with top stories. First, the headlines. Brexit. Obama warns on global growth after UK vote. Tory leadership. Johnson and May to enter contest. Oscars push for more gender and ethnic diversity. US compensates Cameroon family for child killed by UN car. El Chapo. Mexico judge halts extradition to US. Here's now the details. He said Brexit would freeze the possibilities of investment in Great Britain or in Europe as a whole. He appealed to the UK Prime Minister and other EU leaders to ensure an orderly process for the British exit.
With respect to Brexit,
earlier, EU leaders warned that the UK must honour the principle of free movement of people if it wants to retain access to the single market. The leaders of the other 27 EU countries were meeting in Brussels without the UK for the first time in more than 40 years. Mr. Obama was speaking at a summit in Ottawa with the leaders of Canada and Mexico, aimed at strengthening economic ties between North American countries. He said the preparations by central banks and finance ministers indicated that global economy in the short run will hold steady. But he added, I think there are some genuine longer-term concerns about global growth if in fact Brexit goes through that freezes the possibilities of investment in Great Britain or in Europe as a whole. At a time when global growth rates were weak already, this doesn't help, the president said.
Great Britain or in Europe as a whole, at a time when global growth rates were weak already, this doesn't help with respect to the UK and any trade agreement with the United States. Frankly, we will be the least of their problems right now because their first order of business is going to be to address the market where they sell half their goods, which is Europe. And these things are not easily negotiated, particularly because we've been spending our time trying to negotiate with the European Union. And so to suddenly go off on another track will be challenging. But I think their first and primary concern is going to be to try to figure out how they interact with the European Union and the European market if in fact and when in fact they leave. I have emphasized throughout, though, that the special relationship that we have with Great Britain does not change. The ties of affection and family and language and institutions and culture and the business relationships that exist, those are so deep and so long-lasting. The cooperation we have on security issues and on global challenges, those are so fundamental that our relationship with the UK fundamentally doesn't change.
The two heavyweights will declare their candidacies, setting out how much support they enjoy and how they propose to unify the party after the Brexit vote. Ex-Minister Liam Fox is also throwing his hat into the ring, joining Work and Pensions Secretary Stephen Crabb. The outcome of the contest to succeed David Cameron is due on 9 September. Mr. Cameron, who has been Tory leader for 10 years and led the country since May 2010, is stepping down after losing the vote on the UK's future membership of the EU. He has said fresh leadership is required to take on the task of negotiating the UK's separation from the EU. The makeup of the field will become clear when nominations close on Thursday, although Mrs. May, Mr. Johnson and Dr. Fox are expected to announce their intentions in a series of speeches in London. Nearly 700 people were invited with a focus on women and ethnic minorities. Almost half the people who have been asked to join are women and almost as many people of color. For the second year in a row, all the nominees at February's 88th Academy Awards were white, sparking an outcry. The protests led to an unprecedented debate about racial equality in the film industry, characterized on social media by the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite, and caused several Hollywood stars to boycott the awards ceremony. Should all of those invited agree to join, the demographic of the more than 6,000 members would only slightly change from being mostly white, male and over 60. Male membership currently stands at 75% and would slip to 73%. White membership would decrease from 92% to 89%. The ambassador's convoy was moving at high speed when the 7-year-old was fatally hit in April. The US provided the family with 1 million Central African francs. The boy's family also received 2 cows, flour, onions, rice, salt, sugar, soap and oil. The US said it would also build a well to provide fresh drinking water for the boys' community located near the northern city of Makolo, according to State Department officials. Department spokesman Jeffrey Laurie described the contribution as a compensation package commensurate with local custom as well as the needs of the family and village. US diplomats have visited the family on several occasions following the accident and will continue to provide all support possible, he added. Ms. Power was on a week-long trip to show US support in the battle against militant Islamist group Boko Haram when the accident occurred. Cameroon's government, local aid organizations and the UN also donated 5 million francs to the family, bringing the payout to more than $10,000. Mexico agreed to transfer Guzman in May after the US guaranteed he would not face the death penalty. But the ruling means it could be months or even years before he is sent to the US, where he faces murder and drug smuggling charges. Guzman is being held in a maximum security prison near the US border. He was arrested in January after 6 months on the run following his escape through a tunnel in his jail cell. He had already escaped a maximum security facility once before, spending 13 years at large. One of the appeals argues that the statute of limitations has run out on some crimes Guzman is accused of in the US, his lawyer Jose Refugio Rodrigo told. Guzman's defense also argues some of the accusations lack direct evidence. The Northern Territory News is famous for its lurid front-page stories featuring UFOs, horny ghosts, and especially crocodiles. Ahead of this Saturday's election, the paper hung pictures of Australia's two main political leaders on poles baited with fish guts. These were dangled into the enclosure that houses Bart, a 5.1-meter crocodile. Bart momentarily latched onto opposition leader Bill Shorten, but after a moment of cold-blooded deliberation, decided Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull would win the election. "The bookies suggest he's on to a winner," said Matt Williams, the newspaper's editor. Bart's brain may only be the size of a walnut, but he is one smart beast. Bart resides at the Crocosaurus Cove Wildlife Park and played a starring role in the classic Australian film Crocodile Dundee. He is the latest in a long line of psychic animals, the most famous of which was Paul the octopus, who correctly selected the outcome of 7 of Germany's 2012 World Cup matches. The controversial former mayor of Davao City, 71, overthrew the political establishment at the polls, promising a bloody war on crime and corruption.
I, Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
In his inaugural speech, he promised to make sweeping changes to the country's political system. But in a nod to his critics, he also insisted that he knows the limits of his power. Mr. Duterte, who has barely left Davao in the south since his election win, took his oath at a small ceremony at the Malacanang Palace in Manila. Only state media were permitted to cover the event, but it was streamed live online. He also promised to honor international treaties and respect peace deals agreed with rebels at home. The new Vice President, Leni Robredo, was sworn in at a separate ceremony in Quezon City, in the suburbs of the capital. Both will serve a single 6-year term. A rap song in English aiming to tell foreigners the truth about China has been released by a faction of the Chinese Communist Party. "This is China" was posted onto microblogging site Weibo on Tuesday by China's Communist Youth League and has been shared more than 40,000 times. It features a mix of traditional Chinese elements against modern rap. It says China has terrible problems, but is peace-loving, affluent, and at the forefront of scientific research. The song opens by saying that it wants to restore the impression you have on my country, China, saying a false image had been fabricated by the international media. It then explains that China is a developing country and is really hard to manage, and acknowledge the many incidences the country has gone through, such as the 2008 Chinese milk scandal, where dairy products were found tainted with melamine. However, its chorus concludes that its people still love the country. Afghanistan, bombers kill up to 40 cadets near Kabul. India joins elite missile control group MTCR. JS passes Finance Bill 2016. USA to help Bangladesh improve aviation security. Rio 2016, Sally Pearson will miss Olympics with torn hamstring. Let's move on to the next news. Suicide bombers have attacked an Afghan police convoy outside the capital Kabul, killing as many as 40 cadets and civilians. 2 bombs hit vehicles carrying graduates returning from a ceremony on the city's western outskirts. Pagman District Governor Haji Muhammad Musa Khan told many more had been injured. The bombing was claimed by the Taliban and follows an attack on a bus just over a week ago that killed 14 people. The dead included Nepali security guards working for the Canadian Embassy. Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar signed the Missile Technology Control Regime, aimed at preventing unchecked proliferation of missiles. As an MTCR member, India will now have access to crucial missile technologies. This came days after India suffered a setback in a bid to join a group that sets global rules for international trade in nuclear energy technology. India's entry into the regime as its 35th member would be mutually beneficial in the furtherance of international non-proliferation objectives, the Foreign Ministry said in a statement. India's entry into the MTCR has come after years of diplomatic negotiations with its 34 members. Correspondents say it will boost Prime Minister Narendra Modi's foreign policy initiatives, especially after Beijing reportedly stalled Delhi's entry into the nuclear suppliers group last week. China has said India should not become a member until it signs the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, a key requirement for all NSG members. But Beijing's application to join the MTCR is still pending, and some analysts believe that India may use this as a bargaining chip in its NSG discussions with China. India has said it would continue to discuss the NSG issue with China. India signed a key civil nuclear deal with the US in 2008, which gave it an access to nuclear materials and technology. But it has been pushing for a formal entry into elite groups like the NSG and MTCR, which control the trade of nuclear material and technology. The Jatiyo Sangshad on Wednesday passed the Finance Bill 2016, keeping the proposed provision of changing the exiting tax and deputy rates. Most of lawmakers, including a few from opposition Jatiyo Party, voted in favor of the bill after the Finance Minister A.M.M. Mohit had presented it before the House in the afternoon with Deputy Speaker Fazle Rabbi Miah in the chair. Earlier on June 2nd, Mohit presented the bill. A total of 18 amendments were accepted on various tax proposals. Besides, the MPs voted against taking public opinions and sending the presented finance bill for vetting. Ruling Awami League lawmakers Gholam Dastagir Ghazi, Whip Shahiduzzaman Sarkar, M. Shahabuddin, Mahmudus Samad Chaudhry and JP lawmakers Qazi Firoz Rashid, Fakhrul Imam, M. Nurul Islam Omar, Nurul Islam Milan, Begum Noor Hasna Lili Chaudhry, M. Mamunur Rashid and independent lawmaker Rustam Ali Farazi proposed for taking public opinions on the bill and sending it for vetting. The USA is keen to assist Bangladesh to stop terrorism and secret killing and to improve aviation security as well. A delegation led by Congressman Frank Lobiondo expressed this eagerness in a meeting with Home Minister Asaduzzaman Khan Kamal at Secretariat in City on Wednesday. After the meeting, the minister said that terrorism is a global issue. All countries should work together to curb violence. According to the minister, the USA has expressed its eagerness to work together with Bangladesh in this regard. We have also asked them to provide training for our law enforcers on aviation security, anti-terrorism and cybercrime, the minister added. He further said that the visiting delegation wanted to know about the measures taken to ensure aviation security in Bangladesh. Kamal said that the delegation members expressed their satisfaction over the security at Bangladesh airports. Here's now the Millennium Information and Technology News. Originally, the regulator won its case and ordered the social network to stop tracking non-members when they visited publicly available Facebook pages. The Brussels Appeals Court overturned that, saying the regulator had no jurisdiction over Facebook, which has its European headquarters in Ireland. Facebook said it was pleased with the decision. We look forward to bringing all our services back online for people in Belgium, it said in a statement. Willem de Bacler, president of the Belgium Privacy Commission, said today's decision means simply that the Belgian citizen cannot obtain privacy protection when it concerns foreign players. The citizen is thus exposed to massive violations of privacy. It said that it will look into launching a final appeal with the Court of Cassation, which can throw out previous judgments but not deliver new ones. The patent describes a smartphone camera receiving coded infrared signals beamed from emitters in public places. The handset could then offer on-screen information or disable the camera functionality to stop pictures being taken. One technology journalist said the technology could frustrate consumers. It could harm Apple in the eyes of some people, said Stuart Miles, founder of gadget site Pocket Lint. People like freedom of speech, and who is Apple to tell me I can't record something? But Apple patents stuff all the time. A lot of big companies do that. It might be created for one purpose, but end up used for something else. The patent was first filed in 2011 and details a variety of scenarios in which the technology could be used. One example shows an infrared emitter placed next to a museum exhibit, which the smartphone can identify to give visitors more information about the artifacts on display. Here's now the Millennium Business News. One of Singapore's largest lenders, UOB, says it has suspended its loan program for London properties. The decision comes in response to uncertainty caused by the UK's decision to leave the EU, the bank said. The vote on 23rd June caused global market turmoil and pushed the pound to 31-year lows. The Singapore dollar has gained about 10% since the referendum. Singaporeans were the top Asian buyers of UK commercial property in 2015, according to consultancy Knight Frank. UOB told in a statement, "We will temporarily stop receiving foreign property loan applications for London properties. As the aftermath of the UK referendum is still unfolding and given the uncertainties, we need to ensure our customers are cautious with their London property investments." The move follows the UK's Brexit vote, which triggered a leadership contest in the Conservative government. Heathrow and Gatwick airports have been vying with each other over building an extra runway. Heathrow boss John Holland-Kai said expansion must be a key building block in the government's Brexit plan. It will allow British exporters to trade with all the growing markets of the world, strengthening Britain's position as one of the great trading nations, he said. And at a time of uncertainty, a £16 billion privately funded infrastructure investment will create jobs and growth across the UK. But Gatwick Airport Chief Executive Stewart Wingate said the enormous pollution, both noise and air quality, that Heathrow inflicts on hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, it's this issue that politicians are going to have to grapple with. If you look at Gatwick, we have a tiny fraction of the environmental impact of Heathrow, yet you get all the same economic benefits, all of the same connections to short-haul and long-haul destinations, all at a cheaper price. Gatwick will press its case with the new leader of the Conservatives, he added. Here is now the Millennium Entertainment and Arts News. The 10 letters were penned between 1951 and 1960 to her mentor and lifelong friend, Sir Felix Aylmer. They reveal details of a dramatic decade of the actress's life as she rose from an unknown ballerina to Hollywood fame. They had been estimated to sell at the Bonhams auction in London for up to £4,000. In one letter, the actress wrote that with a heavy heart she had broken off her engagement to socialite James Hansen. "It is all very unhappy making," she said. "I fear I thought it possible to make our combined lives and careers work out." It was followed by joy at finding her future husband, actor Mel Ferrer, whom she married in private in 1954. "We want to keep a dark secret in order to have it without the press," she wrote. At the same auction, Freddie Mercury's personal songwriting notebook sold for £62,500, while a Dalek from BBC series Doctor Who sold for £16,250. A rare album cover of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, signed by all 4 members of the band, sold for £74,500. The brush stars emblazoned on Hollywood Boulevard honor personalities from music, film and TV for achievement in the entertainment industry. Mark Ruffalo, Amy Adams, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Goldie Hawn and Chris Pratt have also been announced as star recipients. They will be honored at the famous landmark in Los Angeles in 2017. Laurie, who was born in Oxford, is best known in the US for his lead role in the medical drama House, which ran from 2004 to 2012. Longoria rose to prominence in 2005 when she played a leading role in Desperate Housewives, while Ryan Reynolds' best-known films include Deadpool and The Proposal. Mark Ruffalo's credits include Spotlight, which won the Oscar for Best Picture earlier this year. Dwayne Johnson first became famous as his wrestling alter ego The Rock, but later turned to acting and has recently appeared in San Andreas and Central Intelligence. Musicians to be awarded a star included Ice Cube, John Legend, Hall and Oates, and NSYNC, Justin Timberlake's former boy band. The group split up in 2002 but until recently held a record for the fastest selling album in US history for their 2000 album, No Strings Attached. Adele's 25 broke the record last year. Here's now the Millennium Sports News. Pearson 29, who won gold at London 2012 and silver at Beijing 2008, suffered the injury in training. Unfortunately, it is the biggest sporting event in the world that I am going to be missing out on, Pearson told Australia's 9 network. It is devastating that I cannot be at Rio as the Olympic champ. Australia's track and field captain only returned from injury in June but has struggled for fitness. The 2011 world champion missed the end of the 2015 season after shattering her wrist competing in Rome. The athlete has had trouble with track times since her return and finished last at Norway's Diamond League even earlier this month. The Australian Olympic team's chef de mission, Kitty Chiller, said earlier, "It is just such a shame for a fantastic champion, a fantastic fighter, and if she doesn't run in Rio, I'll be very, very sad for Sally and the team." Chand, 20, set a time of 11.30 seconds in the 100-meter heats at the G. Kosanov Memorial Meet in Almaty, Kazakhstan. She was prevented from competing in 2014 for failing a hormone test under the IAAF's rules on hyperandrogenism, a condition which produces higher than normal testosterone levels in women. Chand successfully appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, who suspended the regulations for 2 years to allow the IAAF to gather evidence as to whether athletes with hyperandrogenism do gain any performance advantage. "I'm really happy," she said. "It has been a tough year and I'm so happy that my hard work has paid off. I would like to thank all the people in India who were praying for me to qualify. Your wishes have paid off," she added. Chand's battle against the International Association of Athletics Federation's hyperandrogenism rules came 5 years after South African athlete Caster Semenya was subject to gender tests. Viewers, let's have a look at Millennium TV News Recap. Brexit. Obama warns on global growth after UK vote. Tory leadership. Johnson and May to enter contest. Oscars push for more gender and ethnic diversity. US compensates Cameroon family for child killed by UN car. El Chapo. Mexico judge halts extradition to US. You are up to date with our top stories so far here on Millennium TV, and don't forget to log in to www.millenniumtv.net. Thank you and stay with Millennium TV. Allah Hafiz.